question only. Mrs. Elam.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I am first of all going to ask each of the candidates to come up, and you're going to draw for who goes first, second, third, fourth. Okay, so each of you please come forward. All right, so I have ace, 2, 3, 4. I don't do ping pong balls, I do cards. So they're all there. We're going to mix them up. Okay, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Good looking.
Hey, high or low?
Ace is 1.
Oh, hey.
Always 1. All right, there they are. All right, so alphabetical order. Ouch. Yep. So pick which one we'd like. Let's see which. I am number 4. All right. I'll take my card. Yeah. Can't have any complete deck. All right, then full. Okay, she got 3. Barbara Joyce. She's number 1. Chuck, you have to formally accept your card.
Could be the joke.
It could be that I'm thinking
It could be the Joker.
2.
Yeah, no, it's the 2. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. All right. So I just want to explain real quick how this evening is going to work. We're going to, when we call Ms. Couch up, we're going to have everybody else go out to the break room. Teresa Smith will take you that way so that you're not a part of it. We ask that you not watch it on live stream or anything like that, and just wait your turn. When you're finished with the interview, then you can join the crowd. Each candidate will give you 12 minutes. At the very beginning, you can give an opening statement, something about yourself, however you'd like, but we do have questions for you. So if you cover it all, we won't have questions for you. But we do have questions for you from each of us. And I'll moderate things. I'll keep track of time. And let me see here. Covered that. At the conclusion of the interviews, after the 4th person has been up, then we'll take nominations for a candidate. And anybody who wants to nominate somebody can do that. And then we'll go through the voting process. Okay? So that person may or may not be given the oath this evening due to possible conflicts and that kind of thing. So we're going to see whether or not we actually administer the oath this evening or if it's going to have to happen tomorrow or something like that. So anyway, any questions real quick? We good? Okay. Then number 1, Barbara Joyce, come on up. And if everybody else, Teresa, are you there? Yep. Could you take our candidates on a tour of the city building?
Hey, Barb. Mr. Joyce, we'd like to give you the microphone.
Okay. Well, wait.
So, okay.
You have a seat. Thank you. And okay, Barbara Joyce, thank you for being here. Thank you for your interest. Please introduce yourself.
I am Barbara Joyce, and I live at 1610 9th Avenue here in Vienna. Come September 15th, I will have been there 49 years. So I feel that I have a vested interest in Vienna, and I have been part of many boards and decision-making through the years. I have been on the park board. I have been on the planning commission. I have worked with Freedom Festival, and I also have worked with neighborhood groups working for different things in Vienna. I feel like we need to keep moving forward. And I feel like one of our best assets is going to be to continue bringing families and young children to Vienna, because the days of industry here are pretty much over. And I feel like I am knowledgeable in a lot of things because having done this for so many years, I learned from the very best of the people on the committees. and the mayors, the previous mayors. So I feel comfortable with wanting to do this. And I've been involved with Vienna Rec forever. Started out being a tennis mom, driving kids to play tennis. After that, it was baseball and football, and then here came soccer, and goodness gracious. I've just done a little bit of everything and been around and interested in the government of Vienna. I want to see us move forward. I think we have a good start. Now, I think we're on a roll. I think we need to keep that going. I'm aware of the fact that we have a budget. I believe it's a little, maybe over 12 million, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that we have to be patient because it takes time to get things done. An example of that is years ago when I joined the Planning Commission, when I was appointed to the Planning Commission, we wanted new lights in downtown Vienna. Okay, that's been about 28 years, but we have new lights in Vienna. And I'm tickled to death with that. And, you know, I want to thank you all for what you have done and what you continue to do. And I would like to be part of that. I think I'm easy to get along with. And I'm open to new ideas. I'm not stuck in the past, even though I learned a lot, you know, from the older people in the past in Vienna. But I feel like I want to move forward. And I was in education in Vienna for 39 years, roughly 2 generations of families. So I know a lot of people. I know a lot of kids. I want to keep the family part of Vienna a family. Okay?
Okay. Mr. Mancuso, would you like to start?
Yeah, you've touched on a lot of things. So my question is, obviously you're very involved with the community and have a lot of connection here. Is there anything that you might want to elaborate on as far as your connection to the city of Vienna?
I don't quite understand. I know a lot of people.
Yeah. So with your involvement and stuff, you've talked about being a part of the Vienna Rec and the Planning Commission and
Yes.
those kinds of things. Do you want to kind of elaborate on one of those experiences and talk about how you're involved there?
The Planning Commission, to me, has been one of the best learning experiences for me. And I have truly enjoyed when we were busier back in the day, and I could go out in the neighborhoods and see what people were wanting to do, builders were what they were wanting to do. And that was very satisfying then to watch it come to fruition.
Yeah.
And with the park board, oh golly, I started when there was one field over on our farm. So, you know, we've done a lot of work, and there's still work to be done. And I love seeing all the children, you know, learning and moving on.
All right. Thank you. Mayor Rapp.
Thank you for coming tonight. The city of Vienna is about to embark on some extremely exciting projects. What do you hope, if you're appointed, to do to help us accomplish those goals?
I hope to help us move forward. I hope to be very positive, and I hope to be able to interact with the community and understand what they're looking for, what they're wanting for. I want to see John Mansville developed. I know that isn't always a safe subject. I want to see Spencer's Landing. I'm proud of Jackson Park, what all we've done through the years at Jackson Park. And Spencer Park, you know, those things are, and what the city does in the way of entertainment there in the summer for families is very important, I think.
Thank you.
So this kind of dovetails with respect to priorities, you're familiar with all we're into, Spencer, Manville, and there's somewhat priorities, but how would you prioritize, for example, one of the things I want to come back and touch on, you mentioned young families and children. And so what kind of priority do you place on that aspect of
I
everything you're
place
talking about?
on priorities of keeping family is to have things for families here. One of them being the Freedom Festival. What a wonderful thing for this small community to do what that committee did, to bring families together and people from out of town here to enjoy that. I see Spencer's Landing. I was back on the park board when we thought we were going to get a dock down by, is it 12th Street back there? Dr. Pritt lived back there at the time. And we thought we were going to be able, we ran into mussel beds, we ran into this. And I think it is a shame that we are here on this, the Ohio River, and that we are not actually part of the entertainment that people get from the river.
Good evening. Thanks so much for coming. I appreciate everybody putting themselves out here to do this. It's a difficult position to kind of be in. So I appreciate your willingness to step up at this time when the city's in need of a replacement. So my question is, in your view, what are some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses of the city?
Our strengths have been the government we've had. The ability for the citizens to come and present their views. I, for one, have done that for many years, and I appreciate the fact that I can do that. I learned an awfully lot about Vienna from Tom Azinger, and his view was, let's keep it small, but not small. You know what I'm saying? Keep it homey and friendly, but move forward with what we need to do. I think the new school, which I know is a difficult subject for some people, but it's progress, and we need progress. And for the Vienna Rec to be able to have Vienna School to use that, or hopefully to use that, the city, and hopefully Vienna Rec would be able to, benefit from that. To me, I think is wonderful.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, any follow-up questions? Anything left on your heart?
No.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you all very much for this opportunity.
Appreciate it.
You can just leave the mic there. Just roll off. It might roll off.
Think about it.
You turn it off? Thank you.
Who's second? Who's second?
Chuck is next, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck is next. Hi, Chuck. Thank you for being here. We each have questions for you, but first we'd like you to share an opening statement, anything you'd like us to know about you. If you cover what we were going to ask, we'll tell you that, but, you have 12 minutes.
Okay,
Okay, so go ahead.
thank you.
Not for the opening statement, but for like total. Don't take your opening
It will
statement.
not be anywhere close to that.
Okay, all
Will
right.
not be.
All right, and go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be considered for this vacancy. Tom Azinger's passing, creating this vacancy, has been a very sad thing for me. I met Tom many years ago down in Charleston when he was a legislator, and I was not a resident of Wood County. So I met him and then met with him several times over the years. And he was always very respectful to anybody who came to meet with him. He listened intently. He asked hard questions, and he gathered information, to really make an informed decision. So I really have a lot of respect for him. To me, he was a shining example of someone who is a public servant for his state and for the city, and it's a big loss for all of us, I believe. You all know me. I served on council with all of you except Councilman Mancuso. I believe those experiences that we had together over those years or those months that I was here, I think that gives you a lot more information about who I am and how I would perform on council. And so it would be better information than if I sat here and try to tell you more about me. Based on this prior experience, I think that I would be able to come onto council and immediately go quickly to work for the people of Vienna. In closing, I see Vienna as a great city. It's a great city because of a long history of great leadership and great employees who take pride in their city. I did not grow up here, but 24 years ago, I moved my family here, and my children were blessed to grow up in this city. And I would be humbled and honored if I were chosen to finish out Tom's term. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mancuso, you willing to start off?
So Chuck, thanks for coming and being willing to, put yourself out here a little bit this evening. My question is really kind of revolved around your community involvement and connection here with the city. So I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate on how you're involved with the community and how you're connected to the city of Vienna a little bit.
Okay, well, number one, I am on the building commission. I am also the City of Vienna's representative on the Transit Authority Board. I am a member of a nonprofit organization that has had a 70-year partnership with the city. That's Vienna Recreation Association. I have been involved with the city in one way or the other for 18 years, 18 of the 24 that I've been here.
Okay, Mayor Rapp?
Are you a good neighbor?
I am a good
State
neighbor.
Farm, are you a good neighbor?
I am a good neighbor.
State Farm is always there. Is that how that works?
It
Like
is.
a good neighbor?
Yes.
Thanks for applying, Chuck. We're very blessed this year to have so many qualified people that are invested in our community, so thank you for that. If you're selected this evening, what do you hope to accomplish in the short time that you would sit on council?
My hope of accomplishment would be that I would be able to utilize my time, my knowledge, and my experience to help council make the best decisions they can for the projects and the questions that may come forward. I do not have a personal, any kind of a personal agenda that I'm bringing of my own. I want to be able to make decisions for all the citizens of Vienna and do that without any hesitation.
Thank you.
Chuck, and, for what you have done and the experience you have, we thank you for that. And I've made no secret that I believe you're worthy of a nomination and to be considered for this position. And that won't change in my mind. But I want to talk about the priorities for the city. you know, everything you're familiar with, you know, Spencer's Landing, what's going on in the park, the school, you know, families, our population is always a question. Old Vienna, which you are a stakeholder in, you know, with all these choices of things, how do you see the priorities of Vienna stacking up with the resources that we have, which again you're familiar with, to deploy?
Right. I think it's critical that we continue to develop the city of Vienna and develop it in mind of trying to keep young people and get young people to move here. It's very sad that both of my children do not reside here any longer. And, you know, I wish they did. And I want to try to see this city progress and develop to where it will draw more people that want to live in this area. I think that's critical. I think the things that have been done, I think the pool has become a great asset to the city with regards to young families who would come to the city and they would see that it would be something that they'd say, hey, this city, they care about their city, they care about their citizens. I think with Spencer's Landing, there's so much great opportunity there. And I'm really happy to hear that you have Thrasher doing an evaluation and really going to get out there and get the information to know what will be best, the best way to deal with all this property and utilize it to the greatest effect for the citizens of Vienna.
Good evening. Thanks for being here one more time. You've been asked to be here, or you volunteered to be here, so appreciate you stepping up once again for the city. So my question revolves around, and you touched on the strengths, a lot of this Vienna's strengths, but what do you consider some of the city's weaknesses?
Probably the biggest weakness, I would say, would be something that most people don't see, and that would be infrastructure. I think we have a lot of issues with infrastructure, and I think it's a slow process to get it fixed. I know there are a lot of good people who are working on it and looking at it. I know there's a lot of money that it's going to cost to fix it. But again, if you look at this city's infrastructure compared to a lot of other cities, Vienna's done a great job. Even though there's a lot of problems, it's done a great job. So there is a weakness. I think that's it. The other weakness, I think, is we are aging out. Our community's aging out, and we need to have more young people and hopefully get more young people involved in all aspects of the city.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any follow-up questions? Anything left on your heart?
No, other than I'm just here, and if I can help this city, it's what I want to do. It's been good to me and my family, so appreciate it. I appreciate all of you all.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right. Corinne is next. Corinne.
Hey, Teresa, Jim says Russ is here. Have you seen him? Would you send him in?
Yes.
Thank you.
Almost got away with it, too.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we're going to ask you to give an opening statement. You have 12 minutes. We'll start it when you start, and when you're finished, we'll start with our questions. 12 minutes total, not just for your opening statement. Okay. All right, thanks.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me through the microphone? I'm not used to talking through a microphone. So.
It's good. You're good.
My name is Corinne Full, and I've lived in Vienna for over 20 years. I'm not from West Virginia or Vienna, but we've made this our home. And I taught public school for 15 years. So I was pretty busy and involved in the community, the larger community, Wood County, through that. And now I work for the Federal Department of Education. And I was looking for a way to give back. I've been out of public teaching for about a year, and I feel like I've gotten some of my time back, and I've rested a little bit from that. And I thought this would be a good way to give back to my community. And it would be a way that I could kind of try it out and see what I thought. Being a public school teacher, it's not always in the cards to have the time, energy, or finances to have a larger run for office. And so this was kind of a way to test it out and also help my community that, I've really enjoyed living here for the past 20 years. So why not give back?
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Mr. Mancuso, will you start us?
Yeah. Thank you for coming out and, putting yourself out here this evening. So my question revolves around community involvement, and I know you said you were a teacher. I think you also taught me at one point. So full circle moment here.
And I was so excited when you made city council.
So now I get to ask the questions.
Oh, wonderful. Wait, is this
There will be a quiz.
My question is, what is your current, community involvement and connection with the city of Vienna? If you want to talk about that a little bit.
It hasn't been huge. I mean, I participate in general things in the city of Vienna. I go to the library. I, know of events that are going on when it's not 100 degrees. I try and get to those events. I live in the community, so I'm pretty involved in some of the projects. In that the road closed sign was on my lawn this week, so I felt, oh, look at me, I'm part of the community. But as far as larger participation, as a teacher, I just felt a little overwhelmed, didn't have a chance to really be involved in the community. I also have a child. They graduated from high school. They started college. So now I'm like, hey, time, I have that. So my hope is to be a little bit more involved in the community because I have time and energy.
Thanks.
Mayor Rapp?
Oh, thank you for applying.
Oh, thanks.
I guess I should say hablo español.
No. That's my husband.
Ah, he doesn't talk to you that way?
No. I taught English, so.
Okay. If you were selected to serve out this temporary position, what do you hope to accomplish in that short period of time?
To just know what are the things the community needs, what are the ways that we can help. I think as citizens who maybe are aware of city council, I mean, I'll read the minutes, I see those things. I don't always know as a citizen, what are the ways that I can help? What are the things that I can do? What are the larger needs in the community? So getting to kind of to know the pulse of the city and see, I know my little corner of Vienna. I know what my neighbors say, but what's the larger need in this community? What are larger ways that we can potentially help even beyond a city council position?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So as a follow-up to that, obviously you're kind of education centric, right? And helping children educate. But as far as priorities in the community, as you've experienced them and seeing, and when you talk in your little corner especially, what is it that you think the city would most benefit in terms of prioritizing all the opportunities that we do have?
I think we have so many resources as a city, and I don't think people know what we have. They think of Vienna as just a sort of suburb of Parkersburg, like it's where you go to live, but it doesn't necessarily have the activities. And we do. We have a lot to offer in Vienna, and there's a lot more that we could offer. And I think that people don't necessarily see that. And when, I think to get that word out, to just let people see Vienna is more than just a place you go to sleep. We are, where you go to the mall, and then if you keep driving, you see the rest of Vienna. I think there's a lot that this community has to offer and a lot we could do with the resources that we have at our disposal. And I would like to see us do some of that.
Welcome. We appreciate you being here this evening and the willingness to put yourself out there. This is kind of can be a difficult situation. And so it says a lot about a person when they show up for a situation like this and are willing to help. My question revolves around the strengths and in your view, what the strengths and weaknesses are of the city. You kind of touched a lot on the strengths, and you want to elaborate on that more, or I'm definitely interested in your opinion of some of the weaknesses.
Again, I think the weakness is we have these potential resources that we're not really using. We have, a lot of parks, but they're not always utilized to the way that they could. I think we're starting to see more of that. We're starting to see more events. We're starting to see more things that bring out families. I know, for the past couple of years, we've had those family movie nights, and that's wonderful. And I think that we're catering to a certain population. But as someone who taught teenagers for years, we don't really have anything for them to do. We're not really engaging them in a way. So I think that we could definitely, teenagers aren't scary, and I think that they could do a lot for this community. We occasionally might see, a highlight of an Eagle Scout that's done a project, but we don't really have things for that age group. The family movie nights, they're great, but they're for younger kids. And I think that there's a lot that we could do to involve the younger people in this city, and I think that we need to do that, because if we want to have a population that continues to be here, that is young and vibrant, then we need to engage those younger people and say, hey, here's how you can be a part of this. Here's some things that you can do. And I think that we've got some wonderful kids in this area, and we're not really showing them what we could do for them.
Thank you.
So I have a follow-up question.
Okay, Mayor Rapp has a follow-up question.
So Mr. Leach is a real proponent of involving younger people and what have you. He thinks that's an opportunity that we're not taking advantage of to its fullest. One of the things that I really appreciate about tonight's group of you four is the diversity that's here. I know a little of your background because I've been around you for a long time, but it's interesting when you sit up here and you try to think about programs that can be done. I know in your past that you did roller derby. I mean, you don't look like a roller derby person, okay? But when you talk about opportunities for younger kids and teenagers, those are the things that we would like to capitalize on, because we want those kids to stay here. We want them to have those opportunities. And so, with your experience in your own life, what do you think we could, other than the, older movies and what have you, what do you think we could capitalize on?
I don't think roller derby would be a good county or city practice. There's too many liabilities, so I would not recommend that. As fun as it is, it's not going to work. I think as far as what we should do, I think that we do have some offerings for sports, but again, when you get to a certain age, it just kind of falls off, and then it comes back when they're adults. I played adult floor hockey in Vienna. It was fun. It's a little intense. Roller derby was easier for me, and so I don't necessarily know that it's that welcoming for teenagers. I think that we need to talk to the teenagers. What are some things that you want to do? Maybe not a larger, rec league kind of thing, because what if they're not sporty? But what are some events that can draw them in? Let's draw in those teenagers. Let's talk to them. Let's see what they want. They're right here. Just say, what are some things that you would be interested in? Or when you go and we have these family movie nights and you see that teenager that's standing there and they would look like they would rather be anywhere else, say, what could we do to make this something that you would enjoy coming to, or at least not hate coming to with your family? What can we do for you? And I think that is a way that we can find out what we can do for our teenagers. I also think researching and seeing what are other cities of our comparable size, what are they doing? Let's do that. Let's try that.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, anything left on your heart?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for having this opportunity this evening. I'm Kim Couch. I was just standing at the back looking out the window, reflecting on my very first day in Vienna. It was on my 8th birthday, which is why I can remember it. It was 51 years ago. So we moved here from out of town, and I have loved Vienna ever since. And I know everyone who has sat in this seat would say the exact same thing. We all love Vienna. We all want to keep this the best community to live in and to be really proud of where we live. What would make me uniquely qualified, I think, is the fact that I work for the largest employer in our area. So I work for Camden Clark, WVU Medicine, Camden Clark. We have 2,400 employees, so the largest employer in the county. But I am the director of probably the smallest department within the hospital. It is a blending of what I love to do and what I'm probably best at is the fundraising side of it and the event planning. But the hospital has given me some really unique opportunities. I serve on our capital coordination committee, so I'm dealing with budgets that are literally tens of millions of dollars in assets, equipment. We have millions of dollars of requests every year, and then I manage our own budget at the foundation, which is under $10 million. But it is a unique opportunity. I'm very comfortable with budgets. A big part of what I do at the hospital is beyond fundraising is grant writing. So we are currently managing and operating under grants every day of every year. Some of them pay for positions within the hospital. Some of them are for equipment. It's just the whole gamut of things. But I'm very comfortable with grants as well, and I understand the process of that. What I've learned by working with my 2,400 coworkers is that it really comes to the head. The most important part of it of all is good communication, collaboration, and for me, transparency at the foundation. It's vitally important. But accessibility is a really big part of what I do too. I have internal constituents, so all of my coworkers, and then I have external constituents, kind of like the city. You have internal constituents who make the business happen every day, but then you have all of the residents who I would consider your external constituents. But it's a very interesting job that you have, I think, and I appreciate being here today. But I did want to tell you about my experience at the hospital and what I do and how I think it makes me uniquely qualified for the appointment, the things that I already do. I have a lot of opportunities in our community to volunteer outside of what I do. I was the 5th woman president of the Rotary Club of Parkersburg, even though it's been around since 1919. We've only had 7 women presidents. So I'm really proud of that, and I continue to be a very active member in that. I am on the United Way board currently, which I love United Way. I've been parts of Arts Bridge, the Parkersburg Day Nursery. I'm active with my church. So I get out in the community, and really at the end of the day, all the things that I do volunteer-wise and with my job, a lot of it comes down to accessibility and making sure people get the services that they need and knock down barriers, in my case, during the day to care, and then in the evening and otherwise to other things like good childcare and the arts. So I have kind of a broad base, but those are the things that I like to do and the things that I do every day. Does that answer some of your questions?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to let Mr. Mancuso begin. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your introduction there. I know you've been involved with the community a lot. So I guess my question is, what is your community involvement and connection? So I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more on your involvement with the Arts Bridge or United Way and how that has, impacted Vienna and stuff.
Well, I think United Way covers the entire county.
Yeah.
We have so many organizations that we do community investment grants. So it's very far reaching. My most favorite part of the United Way is actually where we go out and visit sites that have asked for funding. That's the best part. You get to meet people and find out what they're doing in the community, find out about little grant programs you didn't even know about that existed, and kind of bring it all forward. As far as the hospital goes, my involvement with Vienna is pretty significant. I have an event coming up on a week from Friday that 300 people will be able to do fireworks. I had to go to the fire chief's office this week, so that's a unique part of my job. But as far as Artsbridge goes, we are really involved in bringing the art cart into the schools. And there are many schools in the county that benefit from that. And I'm proud to say that hopefully my future niece now is working for the art cart group. So it's all important. I'm Episcopalian. I would go to church in Vienna if we had one, but we don't. But otherwise, I feel like the good things about Rotary, like our road cleanup, Randy knows this, is Vienna cleanup that goes from Vienna to the mall and back. So we're always doing something. We try not to be, just Parkersburg specific or whatever. We're out and about and doing all kinds of good things.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. Mayor Rapp.
I could ask her so many questions.
Do it.
Well, I only get one, so I'm going to stick to a menu here, okay? If you were selected, what do you hope to accomplish in the short time that you would be a council member?
I think that's a good question for you, too. I think that a 4-month appointment to this board gives me the chance to use the skills that I already have, my ability to communicate, my ability to collaborate, and my ability to be transparent and accessible at a really higher level. I mean, I love what I do at the hospital. I'm not saying that's not everything, but I think taking those skills to the next step, which would be paying it back to the community that I love, would make it so exciting. And personally, I'll just be honest with you. I've known Tom Mazinger since I was 8 years old. The house that I live in now, I babysat in when I was a kid, and he lived right next door. I graduated from high school with one of his sons. He was such a wonderful supporter of me and the foundation. He came to events. He obviously donated money. He just was really good about letting people know how proud he was of them and really supportive of what they were doing. And I would be honored to carry that on in his memory in large part. But otherwise, it would be me taking the stuff that I love to do and that I do every day at the hospital and bringing it to the city and trying to make it a better place to live for all the same reasons that you guys are here, I would suspect.
Thank you.
Did I answer it?
Close enough. I get a follow-up question. So,
Okay.
we're going to pin you down.
Okay.
So to follow up that, you've obviously got a very diverse experience in Wood County in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah, I'm really lucky.
So also you're very familiar with Vienna, right?
I am.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about what priorities you would think, and I think obviously you recognize the window that we have available, what priorities you think would take center stage for you in thinking about in this position?
I have thought a lot about that in the last few weeks, and I hope that this might be a question. I guess when I look at Vienna, I see all the wonderful things that you guys have done and been responsible for, and I'm truly grateful for that, especially having raised kids here and choosing to live here. One area that I think is a true struggle is transportation. I feel like we're very well served by our Easy Rider bus system. I think it's great. I think it's not as deep as it could be. I think that there are a lot of little agencies that provide transportation. I look at our population here in Vienna, 20% of them are over 65. It is a huge issue for them to get where they need to be. If you have mobility issues and you even live 1 block off Grand Central, then that's not an option for you. I think if we could get somebody who would coordinate all the smaller agencies that are running their small buses and volunteers to give people rides and work together with the transportation levy folks, we could really be impactful on transportation. I cannot tell you the number of people who just don't come to their doctor's appointments or miss their chemotherapy or whatever because they don't have transportation and they don't have the opportunity to arrange for that. I'm not okay with that. I think we can do better than that. That's the kind of stuff that keeps me awake at night. I know we need to meet people where they are, but I think having a robust transportation system in Vienna would be just great for everybody and would probably cut down on car traffic and everything else. I only see good things from that. Kind of weird, but I think about that stuff all the time.
Well, just as a quick follow-up on that, are you aware of a model that we have operating in Wood County that would provide some, because obviously
I am.
that's very true.
And we see them at the hospital. We see a lot of different people. I just don't know that there's a coordination of, for instance, FaithLink. They are not coordinated with the senior center. They're not. They are not coordinating together about getting people rides. I understand the limitations of the Easy Rider. Like I said, I'm super thankful for them. But we have so many small agencies that were granted money or raised money to buy vehicles to get people where they need to be, and we're not coordinating all of them to get people where they need to go. So I think that's a neat opportunity for a grant, maybe even.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming tonight and putting yourself out there, and being willing to, serve for a few months until the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's really important that people step up in a time like we are. Unfortunately, we've done this twice in this council, and it's sad.
Yeah.
My question this evening is really just, and you touched on a lot of this, our strengths and our weaknesses, and anything else regarding that you'd like to elaborate on the strengths and weaknesses of the city?
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, and because I don't have a solution, I never really want to bring up anything that I don't have like a ready solution to. But I'll tell you, as a big employer in the area, and people want to live in Vienna, we have a housing crisis on our hands. It is just the new president of Comoros came to Rotary and spoke and said it's taking them 18 months to get people here and in proper housing. We're all kind of relying and falling back on apartments so that people can house hunt while they're here, if we can get them here. The fact that we have such a problem with inventory, and I get it in Vienna. I mean, I think everybody wants to live in Vienna. But there has to be a solution to that can attract builders into the area to provide, and I think that very expensive housing survey that the economic the Development Authority did showed the real needs. They're there. We know exactly what they are. They're low income and they're middle income. And we just don't have a robust program at this point to address it, although we absolutely know the information now because of that study. So I'd love to see something happen in Vienna. I get it. I know why people want to live here.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Anything left on your heart?
No, I just say thank you so much. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for having this time to share with you and meet some of you for the first time, but I really appreciate it. And like I said, I think everybody who sat in this chair tonight really loves Vienna and wants it to be the best place to live. I know we all said it, but it's so true. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Before you start. Okay. Mr. Skogstad, at our last meeting, there was a question asked, which I asked you to research for us about if you serve as a city council person, are you allowed to serve on the building commission?
You would not be able to serve on the building commission. If you're also on council, the building commission has specific criteria, but I don't think that becomes an issue unless and until there's a candidate. I don't think that becomes an issue until the council position is filled. So if the question is, does any candidate who may be on the building commission, are they precluded from interviewing and being considered? No. However, if any candidate was on the building commission or any other entity that that precluded them from holding an outside office, I don't think that would be an issue until they actually held that outside office. And I don't think my microphone. We can hear you. Can you? Now, I can't hear me, so. But anyway, was that clear enough?
It was. And because the question was asked specifically about Mr. Knopfsinger, before I could swear Mr. Knopfsinger in, he would have to resign from the building commission, which when we asked that question, Mr. Knopfsinger has expressed his intention to resign from the building commission if selected. Am I speaking correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So that will not be a factor in the decision that's made.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, then. So if there aren't any other questions about that, then I'm going to open the floor for nominations. So any of us can nominate somebody. And what we'll do is just in the order that they're nominated, I'll take a vote. And if we have to continue down the line, we will.
Madam, I I would like to nominate Mr. Knopfsinger to serve on our council as a temporary council member. I believe that Chuck's experience of filling in the last time, even though it is a short period of time, I believe he already knows the procedures, the ordinances, all of the things that go along, and that once he was sworn in, I think he could fill the seat immediately. All right. I do want to thank every person that came for all of the input that they have. And when this whole process is over, I would like to ask you a question. Kim? Yes, not now, when we're done. All right?
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. We'll take a vote. I'll do the roll call. All those in favor of selecting Chuck Knopfsinger as the temporary replacement for the vacant seat, please indicate by raising your right hand. All right. The ayes have it. All right. So let's see here. Excellent. So congratulations, Chuck. Thank you. And we know that you will serve well here. And I got to tell you, I guess we can open it up to council comments then now, right?
So I have two.
Okay. I'm going to give some comments too. But
Yeah, that's
go ahead.
fine. Okay. Kim, I loved your presentation. I think you've got a skill set that really would be an advantage to anybody. Okay. But one of the things that you said, you know, we have police department, we have the fire department, we have public works, we have our senior center, we have the park system. We all get an assignment of what department we're a liaison to. What department would you have picked if you got to pick?
I didn't think I was going to get to pick. Do I get to pick?
What you don't, but if you had been selected,
Oh, if I've been
what department do you think you would have worked in best?
I do love the fire department, but I probably parks.
Okay. The reason why I ask is Mr. Azinger represented the fire or the police department. And Tom was very active in that, you know, and he had a great interest with, but with the skills that you have, obviously, I think that you could have helped whatever department in the city overall. Okay. I mean, one of the things that I think is a weakness on our part is we don't interact very well with the county. I think the county's got resources, and I think you could have probably put in a good word for us with the county. Probably. Okay. We could certainly do more. My other comment this evening is, Mrs. Joyce, I had the opportunity to speak with your son today, and he told me that he was very proud of you for stepping up to find out what it's like to be on city council. Okay? And so your son believes in you, as we all do. All right? So thanks for raising such a good son. All right? Next.
Thank you. So I took notes that only I can read because I was writing them quickly. But I took notes on each of you as you were up here, and I've got things circled for each of you, things that I would add to my list of things to do, or I really enjoyed your perspectives. I mean, the teenager thing was especially that, I mean, my ears were perking up on that because I've got one myself. We'll have another one here in a couple years. And I think a lot of times families already do things like the family network. I know they're at-risk children, but a lot of times mom and dads are taking care of the children, but the teenagers start to become independent, and then they're out there on their own doing who knows what and all that. And they're a different group of kids. But I was so excited this summer when we saw so many kids at the pool. The teenagers kept those diving boards lit up the whole summer, and they were on the slides, and they were playing basketball, and that was exactly what I had hoped the teenagers would do. You know, I knew the kids were going to like it, I knew the parents were going to like it, I knew the seniors were going to like it, but I really was hoping that the teenagers would find that. And so we need more things like that. But I'm particular, I completely agree with that and love that. So we're in, I would like to encourage all of you guys to do this again. You know, when next time rolls around, put your name on a ballot. I hope you'll consider doing that. It's a unique experience that each of us have gone through, and I think each of you have something that you could bring forward. So I encourage you to do that.
Any other council comments?
I'll go ahead.
Sure.
Or, yeah, go.
I just wanted to say this was, a difficult process in one way because we were blessed with so many talented people and who kind of had different ways of approaching things, but all great outcomes. So it was really just, for me, I have to say, just difficult to make a decision. But I appreciate everybody that participated. So, and I hope that if you haven't been involved in the city before, like on one of our boards or, please volunteer to get on a board because, there are vacancies that become available. Mrs. Joyce talked about the Planning Commission and she's served on that board for many, many years. But, people, go on, do other things and they, move on. And so we need to make sure that we have more people involved in our boards to help move the city forward. And that's from the citizen side, that would be so helpful when people do that. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you.
So just briefly, I think it characterizes what you said, Kim, in terms of everybody here loves Vienna and wants to help, that put their name forward. I told you before, based on just the stability, the familiarity that I supported Chuck in doing this, and you rightly gave me hell and said, you should at least listen to what everybody says, and you're correct. I do stand corrected. Still would have voted for Chuck, sorry, to everybody, but the perspectives that you gave are exactly what you said. The breadth of the knowledge and the ideas coming from different perspectives. But the stability, we've got 4 months. He's familiar, stable, and just get it done. So I don't want it to be a reflection on anything but that. And wow, you guys, all of you, Barbara, I've loved you forever. I know how long you've been doing what you do. And Kim, every time you want to cross that border into Vienna for whatever purpose you want, and Corinne, the ideas with the teenagers, I think that's our silver lining is to be able to develop that opportunity, and we're taking the steps to do it and keeping, someone with your perspective and ideas involved. I'm sure that every time you guys want to put your hand up, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll just kind of echo what everyone here said tonight. It takes a lot to kind of put yourself out here and be, out in the public like this and answer somewhat personal questions about who you are and why you care. But it's so obvious that everyone here really cares about the city of Vienna and making it better. So thank you all for taking the time to come out and putting yourselves out here and being willing to be interviewed like this. And hopefully, Chuck, you'll be able to help us get through the next 4 months or so. So thank you.
You done, man? Mr. Skogstad.
Yeah, I don't have a vote, and I'm just kind of a regular guy who's up here playing ref some nights. I ran for office one time, and because I thought I would be able to do a decent job at it. So I know what it is to put yourself out and not get the end result maybe that you hoped for. But what I heard and what I took away from this, and I'm very encouraged as just a person, I live in Parkersburg, but just as a person who lives in Wood County there is a large group of people out there who have excellent ideas and who are putting forth positive things. What I would like, because I'm selfish and I live here, is for all of those people who had those good ideas, and I know Miss Joyce and I know Mrs. Couch, and I've never met Mrs. Full before, but it was a pleasure. But I heard nothing but positive ideas, and I think that those ideas would be helpful to come to things like public forums, just to put the idea out there, because, I hadn't even thought about the transportation issue, and I thought, well, that's a fantastic idea. Why aren't we? What can we do to coordinate that? And it's the same with all of you. What are we doing with our teenagers? And I'm sorry, Miss Joyce, I missed. I came in, I had to do city court tonight. I'd missed your interview, and I missed Chuck's, but I know Chuck. So I would encourage you and anybody that's listening anywhere or watching this, that if you have a positive idea and you have something, and it doesn't mean that you need to commit yourself to 4 years to running for office, although I encourage everybody to do that. But if you have a positive idea, you can bring it to your council, advocate for it, and it will change. And a small idea what may seem like a small idea, but could ultimately have a larger impact than we may have ever suspected, was just our last council meeting where we had a parent come in and say, hey, did you guys notice that there was a problem with the crosswalk? And everybody went, no, we didn't really notice there was a problem with the crosswalk, but thank you for pointing it out. You're absolutely right. That is a problem. And move the crosswalk, and guess what? Maybe we keep somebody from having to deal with, a kid from getting hit by a car, or a driver from having to live with that. And, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, maybe that is not a world-changing idea, but it certainly might be for the people that are involved. But those are the kind of things that I would love to see come in our public forums, as come to council, or go to your council members and say, hey, I have this idea, and not every idea is a great idea, and I'm going to be quiet, but when you have those positive thoughts, bring them to your councils. If you live in Parkersburg, take them to Parkersburg. You live in Vienna, bring them to Vienna. But let people know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I always like to hear a good idea. And so if you have them, go to your commissioners, go to your council members. No, don't go to your commissioners, but no, go to your commissioners, go to your council meetings, and let them know. It may seem insignificant, but it actually may be a great idea. So thank you.
There should be an app for that, Kim. If you developed it to coordinate those agencies, patent it, you're done, you retire. I mean, and you're the type of personality that can pull it off. I mean, who knows if that exists, but if not, pulling that together would be something.
Are we done? I hope you all liked Owen this evening. That is the coolest kid. If you could see him out on that football field, I mean, he is a great little guy. He is enjoying himself so much. But all right, with that,